Yo, what's happening everybody? King GBL here and welcome back to a brand new Go Battle League video. Hello everybody, welcome to the video. I hope you're all having a fantastic day here. Today I'm going to be having a look at the world number one best team in Go Battle League. This is the team that's currently being used by Patoman. If you guys are not familiar with Patoman, he quite recently, maybe a few months ago, he won one of the Pokemon Go regionals and he's now the number one ranked player in Pokemon Go. I think his elo is around like 3,750 or something. The highest elo of all time is like 3,800. And Patoman is trying to go for that. He's an amazing player from Spain, I believe, and will be participating in the World Championships in Yokohama, so I highly recommend checking out his Twitter. He always posts like a lot of stuff about GBL and some teams he's using, and I personally used this team a few times, and this has been a really successful team for me. After playing some of the Sunshine Cup and going through all of the RPS teams, I'm not gonna lie, I was actually using Decadui. I'm not gonna lie, I was using Tropius and Decadui. If you know, you know. If you know about Decadui, you know, and if not, we're just gonna leave it there. But to be honest with you, I've been enjoying the Ultra League an absolute ton recently, and I decided to pull this team back out to gain a little bit of elo, considering I dropped like 300 elo in Go Battle Day. This team did not disappoint, and I won 9 out of 13 matches, which is amazing. The last time I streamed, I went on like a 10-game winning streak with this team. This team is really powerful. It does have a couple of weaknesses, of course, being like electric types, Ampharos, Tapu Fini, Jellicent, but we'll probably see a couple of those in this video and we'll see how we deal with those. You would think getting like a Tapu Fini is an instant loss or Jellicent is an instant loss, but you can potentially play around those, and this team is just super strong, and with the Ultra League and the amount of bulk that you get, this team can perform really well. Guys, super quickly before we hop into it, if you could take a second to hit that like button, it'd be very much appreciated. And a ton of you guys are not subscribed yet. I think we're only 6 subs off 1.7k. We're trying to make a push for 1.7k here, and of course 2k in the very near future. So listen, if you do enjoy these videos, hit that like button, subscribe, and thank you very much for all the support in the videos. And we also have an amazing Discord community, link in the description down below. Feel free to join us in there. We're going to be doing some tournaments again quite soon, so you're definitely going to want to get in there. Anyway guys, with all that being said, let's hop into this gameplay. This is the world's number one team. Of course, I'm not 3,800 elo like this other guy is. I'm around 2,300 elo at the moment. I did recently hit veteran. So does this team work for players like me who's at a lower elo? That's kind of what I was wondering with this team. So we're definitely going to check it out and see how it goes. In this video here, we got a pretty bad lead with, of course, Cresselia. The opponent had Swampert as well, which can be a little bit awkward to deal with. Not quite as awkward as Tapu Fini or anything. And they had an Alolan Mach, which of course is quite good against Giratina ordinarily. Now the one really good thing about this team is we're running Dragon Breath on Giratina, which is absolutely vital for this team to work. It gives you a lot more play against Pidgeot and stuff. And look, here comes an Obstagoon lead. Now you would think this is a really bad match, and you're thinking swapping into Giratina against a Dark type doesn't really make sense. It makes all the sense in the world actually. And the opponent I think realised it too. With Dragon Breath you actually beat Obstagoon, and we're going to go ahead and outpace this to 2 Dragon Claws, so we're already putting just a lot of pressure on the opponent. I've got really hilarious IVs on this Giratina, which is probably giving me like some sort of Dragon Breath break point. I'm just shredding through these opponents here. I decided to shield this once. Now 99 out of 100 times I don't shield Giratina at all. In this particular match I decided to do so, just to maintain alignment, to make sure I can get my Charizard onto this Obstagoon, and to put in just a lot of work on this thing. The opponent snipes with Trevenant, and this is just absolutely perfect. Now you're thinking, why are you not coming in with Charizard? Well, it's because Giratina is super weak to Obstagoon. So what I want to do is try and get a ton of value out of Walrein here. Just go for a couple of Icicle Spears if possible, and maybe look to catch like a Seed Bomb on the Charizard or something like that at some point. And we do successfully catch the Seed Bomb. I noticed the opponent was going for the Seed Bomb straight away, and this is absolutely amazing at this point. We're going to farm the whole way up to 7 and CMP tie the opponent on the Shadow Ball. Now if the opponent shields this, we can look to farm this thing the whole way down. The opponent does shield it, and they've no reason to bait at this point, so we just shield this. We respect the Shadow Ball. This will be the hardest hitting move left in the game, and we're going to go straight for a Blast Burn. This will do so much damage, especially if it was a Shadow, but even the normal one just almost completely wipes it out. Now this will be a Night Slash. We have absolutely nothing to worry about. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and CMP on the Dragon Claw. It's a good thing I was counting there, and we do manage to CMP. We're going to come straight into Walrein, go straight for the Icicle Spear, and that's going to be a good game. So as you can see there, like we had a lot of difficult Pokemon to deal with, right? Trevenant I think in general beats Walrein in maybe like the 2 shield. Of course, Alolan Mach on our Giratina, Obstagoon on our Walrein at the start. You know, that was a kind of rough start, but this team can actually overcome those types of matchups there, and it was a good game. So next game here we have an Abomasnow. This is a pretty positive lead, but we just have to be very careful about them going for the Energy Ball. Now I respect this because I really just don't think they're going to beat it here, and we go for the second Icicle Spear, of course, which will get it sort of deep into the yellow here. The opponent is shielded up, and we are counting perfectly here, and we do go on ahead and go for the catch. It's a really nice catch by me there. That's just going to go into the absolute abyss. And the opponent could have stayed in there, which I would have been happy enough with, but they do come in with Cresselia. And again, drawing this Cresselia out is so important with this team at times, because if you get that lined up, look at that Moonblast go. Look at that Moonblast go. I think the opponent got, in this match, they got a defense debuff and an attack debuff, or it might be a different match I'm thinking of. I think it was this one. So it's like, how much luck do you want at this point? We're going for a Dragon Claw because we're not going to get to another Shadow Sneak, but the thing is, we've got this into Blast Burn range, and the opponent has already revealed that they've got Moonblast. Now, would they be running Moonblast and Future Sight? I doubt it. They just blind throw this, and I'm like, no way, this is a Future Sight, right? It's the Moonblast, so I'm like, right, I can actually maybe comfortably farm all the way up to maybe like 2 Blast Burns here, and just come out with an absolute ton of energy on Charizard, which will threaten just about anything, and in comes their own Charizard. I go for Dragon Claw and CMP. This was not a good CMP tie. I wanted to throw this and then dip out. That was a slight mistake by me here. And we do go ahead and shield this up, and the opponent's going to fire for Dragon Claw. We'll come into Giratina, Walrein, and we're going to farm up, and I go for another CMP. I was counting, and then I CMP'd. Like, I was thinking backwards there, honestly. It's kind of mad, that one right there. But that's fine, we're going to get both of these off, and this is going to look to threaten the Charizard quite a lot. Now, we're still in a very, very tough spot here. I've definitely misplayed it a little bit. And in comes the Abomasnow. Can we actually get this move off? We do get the move off in time. And look, this is a really big mistake by the opponent, in my opinion. They should have just went for a Dragon Claw, because they're going to leave me in a position where I can actually farm down this Abomasnow and look to come out with energy. The opponent goes for an underfarm. I come out with a Blast Burn. What will the opponent come back in with here? Will it come back in with the Charizard? Now, I see that it is Charizard, and I know that they have a little bit of energy left, so I decide to go straight for the Dragon Claw on this one. And now Cresselia is remaining in the back. Can we outpace them? We do outpace them to the Blast Burn, and this is going to absolutely destroy the Cresselia. I think overall, like, this game, it was pretty neutral, but I think the opponent maybe had a little bit better, because definitely the opponent can eat multiple Icicle Spears. I don't think I can really comfortably eat one of their energy balls. So, like, we're able to overcome some difficult matches here. Now, this is a very awkward matchup against Tapu Fini, and I'm getting bubble lag, so they've probably shielded this. They let it go, which normally they shield the first one. So I'm always tempted to beat the first one on Tapu Fini, but one more Earthquake will threaten to take out. Now, in comes the Moonblast. Now, as this team, I actually let them get off the Surf here, which is absolutely fine. This is a mistake by the opponent, because we can easily live a double resisted Surf. We're going ahead and fire off another Earthquake. I think as soon as we get that Earthquake free, we come into Giratina and go for a resisted farm, because it'll take them a while to obviously get back up to the Moonblast. And at that point, we can look to Shadow Sneak. In comes a Mach, and you're thinking again, like, oh yeah, look at this Dark type on your Ghost type. Not looking too good here, buddy, is it? Well, you know what? It's not that bad. That does a lot of damage, and again, like 99 out of 100 times, we are not shielding Giratina. Now, I'm trying to throw in good timing in between their 2-turn fast move if possible. Can we farm it the whole way down? I'm willing to let this go and get a farm on something, but the opponent does go for an Acid Spray. I'm not sure if they had the Dark Pulse, but I'm happy enough with that. It actually gives the opponent less farm on the other side as well. With Tapu Fini, we can get off a nice little Shadow Sneak right here, and this is looking to be in a much better position now. This Tapu Fini's really low, and I come in for an aggressive farm down with Charizard. I'm happy enough to shield once on this, and just go for an aggressive farm down. The opponent comes in with Giratina, and this is a straight win for Charizard in the single shield scenario, so this is looking quite positive. We're just hoping and praying they don't have Ancient Power. Most of them don't have it, but I decide I'm going to respect it here, and I'm feeling, like, after they do the first one, I'm feeling quite comfortable, because I think, like, if you're going to throw it, you'll throw it. You'll go for the back-to-back, you won't bait that. That would be just a very, very weird bait by the opponent if they'd done that. I think this might be a Hundo Giratina 2461. I was using a very similar one, and of course I mirror traded it, and now I've got a mad attack one. But yeah, we're looking to come in. I was trying to eat a move there, and we're going to come in with Walrein here as well, because that match was getting pretty close for my liking. In comes the Dragon Claw, so I'm just trying to force the opponent to dump energy. In comes the Tapu Fini, and that allows us to farm the whole way up to the Dragon Claw. I think in either case, you know, we were going to be able to either farm down or reach the Dragon Claw. We weren't in, like, insane danger of losing that match, but it was getting pretty close. And as you can see, we can actually beat Tapu Finis and Obstagoons with this team, which are two of the hardest counters. Now, in comes Talonflame. I'm not actually sure on the simulations in this match, I do need to look it up, but we're going to farm all the way up to 7 here. 7 being 14 turns, and of course 15 turns for the free Incinerates. We go straight for that, and we look to try and catch a move straight away. The Dragon Breaths are farming that down so quickly, and in comes a Walrein. Now, Walrein, again, this is a really difficult Pokemon to deal with this team. You need to either land a Blast Burn or an Earthquake on it with your own Walrein or Charizard. So we're just basically looking to get this into Earthquake range or Blast Burn range, so I'm pretty happy with this. Giratina is like the damage sponge on this team, and you're just basically pivoting in and out of Giratina whenever you don't have a comfortable matchup, because this thing has just like a really neutral matchup against almost anything, except for like the steel types. Now at this point, the opponent fired off all of their energy, I believe, so what I'm going to do is come in and go for an Earthquake here. We lose CMP here, unfortunately, but that's absolutely fine. The opponent has no reason to beat that, and we go straight for the Earthquake here. Now, is this the one where I undercharge it? No, I just go for a full charge, get rid of the Walrein. I didn't want them to dip out, and in comes Cresselia. Now, what I decide to do here is try to catch a Grass Knot on this thing. I'm hoping this is the Grass Knot, and in my opinion, if they use Grass Knot, they're far less likely to have Future Sight. Usually if it's Grass Knot, it's going to be a Moonblast as well. And yeah, we're going to look to farm this down, but I know the opponent's going to get to another move, so we farm up just to right before the move, and fire off another Dragon Claw. The opponent does shield it up here, and at this point we're going to get a full farm down. I think the opponent might have overtapped, and in comes Cresselia. Now we're going to need about 2 Blast Burns landed on this thing to take it out, so this is going to get quite close. And we'll actually, okay, I'm actually just going for Dragon Claw. Here's what I'm trying to do right here. I'm trying to burn my Switch Clock, and my Switch Clock just comes up. I go straight for an Icicle Spear. I didn't realize I was that close to the Earthquake, otherwise I would have committed to it, but at this point the opponent's just super low, and I think just going for this Icicle Spear was the correct play anyway. At this point I can just shield it up, because I know they've built up to like almost 100 energy on this thing, so if they're forced to throw off 2 Grass Knots, at that point I can come in and farm down with Charizard. And look, you're seeing another really awkward team for us, and we're able to overcome it with this team. I would say easily the biggest core breaker for this team is definitely Galvantula and Ampharos, and we do have a Dragonite lead. I think I misplay this one. The opponent does come in with an Ampharos here, and what I decide to do is go for an Icicle Spear straight away. I'm not sure if I should be threatening the Earthquake. The opponent does let it go, and I decide to come in with Giratina. Now, of course, this thing will know Brutal Swing, and this is a Shadow Ampharos, so 2 of these Brutal Swings is going to look to threaten to take us out here. So this is looking kind of tough. That's kind of rough, bro. I'm just hoping the opponent does not shield this, to be honest, and lets it go. I would be pretty happy if they did so, yeah. So we do manage to take back sort of switch there, and in comes Charizard. And Charizard ahead on energy is sort of a rough one to deal with on this team as well. In comes my own Charizard, and they go straight for the Dragon Claw here. And at this point, I'm just happy to shield it up, to be honest with you. We're going to go ahead and farm up to the Blast Burn and fire off the Dragon Claw here. Now, I think I need to go for some sort of a catch here, so I decide to farm up to the Claw. The opponent's up to the Blast Burn, and can we catch a Blast Burn on this thing? I'm just hoping that I can win with, in comes the Dragonite again. So this is looking super tough. I was just hoping that I can maybe win this match with Charizard. We go straight for the Dragon Claw, but the opponent is going to reach Dragon Claw of their own here. So what I need to do here is farm down and get to enough moves to potentially take out the Charizard, which is going to be looking a little bit tough. The opponent still has a shield here. We farm up to the back-to-back here. I was tempted to full send the Blast Burn, hoping the opponent might call a bait. They do shield that one, we CMP the second one, but unfortunately guys, this is just not going to be enough. I don't think there was a whole lot I could have done there. Maybe I could have looked to stay in with Charizard and just, you know, trade Dragon Claws with it. Maybe that was the play, but the opponent was ahead in energy, so that was looking really tough nonetheless. In comes the Slowbro. I think I completely misplay this match. I decide to, I think, full send the Earthquake in this one, so we'll see how this one goes. But this is definitely a fun, and they get the defense full on the Psychic as well. This is definitely a funny match right here. You don't really see a lot of confusion Slowbros. I decide to pivot into Gira, because of course I'm debuffed, and in comes Charm Clefable. This is looking super tough, and you know, like, is it going to take a team like this to beat us? It's kind of looking like it. So we're starting to get onto like some worse matchups here. I think that last match was very winnable, but this match right here is just looking very tough, because they just have too many Pokemon that are kind of awkward for us. Now, I think what I decided to do is come in and go for a huge farm down with Charizard, which I feel like is my win condition at this point. Now, the opponent's going to fire off a Meteor Mash, which is resisted, and these charms are really starting to add up though. I think I should consider throwing a Dragon Claw at this point, but I decide I want to go for a full farm down with Charizard, and just look to have a ton of energy. I was expecting the opponent to come in and snipe with Slowbro, so I decided to come in, go for an Icicle Spear bait here, thinking that, again, that's sort of my win condition. The opponent lets it go, and that's a really good call by the opponent. The opponent's going to go for a Psychic here, one-shotting the Walrein, and we have 2 Blast Burns loaded. Will the opponent respect it, or will they shield it? The opponent shields it, so really good shielding by the opponent here. It's Charizard against the world, and this thing can do a lot of damage, but we're on like 20 health, and maybe we'll see what's in the back here, but it's definitely looking a little bit tough. In comes Galarian Stunfisk, and at this point it's just a top left for me. Again, it's really like a water Pokemon that has some sort of fast move other than like a water type move that are super hard to deal with. Hopping into the next one here, we've got another negative lead. We've got Obstagoon. At this point, we're going to pivot into Giratina straight away here, and most likely the opponent stays in and goes for a Night Slash to go for a chip, or we'll see if they actually have an answer to Giratina. The opponent does chip us, and they get the attack rise. This is about the worst possible case scenario. That's why you always let the first one go. The opponent lets that go as well, and this is kind of getting tough at this point. Now, I'm thinking the Obstagoon's going to stay in here, so at this point I'm willing to shield this, because an Obstagoon unchecked with an attack rise can basically run through my whole team. So we decide to let this go, to shield that one up, and I think I decide to let the second one go, because this is in like a decent range to maybe go for farm down. One Night Slash does not quite take out. Can they counter us down in time? They cannot. We will get off another move, and we might be able to get the opponent's final shield here. This is amazing. People fall in love with this thing so much. I think the opponent is going to get to 2 moves here, so just in case they get another attack rise, I let the first one go. The opponent does get to the second move, and now we've got all shields down with a Blast Burn loaded on Charizard. That is about as good as you could possibly ask for out of that situation. In comes a Swampert, and this is looking kind of tough here. We're going to have to look to maybe try to catch a Hydro Cannon or something. It's such a risky catch here. Of course, the opponent swaps straight out, and in comes Venusaur. Again, this is just super rough. Here's the thing about Venusaur. It can live an Icicle Spear. We cannot live a Frenzy Plant. That is the difficulty with this Pokemon here. And to be fair, like these teams that I'm seeing, like this is just super rough. This is super rough. The opponent gets the boost as well, and the opponent gets off a Frenzy Plant as well. Not that it makes a difference, because of course one Hydro will take us out. We are coming out with a loaded Blast Burn, and we're going to fire it off against the Swampert. They're already in the yellow. How much damage will this do? Just not enough, unfortunately. And that's about the worst thing you can possibly see there. Again, those 3 matches we've lost, I think I maybe could have overcome one of the more difficult games. The last game was just super rough, and this game again, it was just super rough. We get pretty bad alignment, and got pretty unlucky with the opponent getting a boost. In comes Cresselia. Again, not a good lead for Walrein. I think we're going to look to catch a Grass Knot here. They get to the Grass Knot in 6. I believe the Grass Knot is 6, 6, and then 5. And you have to count that into the Moonblasts as well, because the Moonblasts start becoming 1 less as well. It's a bit of an awkward Pokemon to count. Now, in comes a Lapras here. Now, this is obviously going to take us out, but what I'm looking to do here is basically get this thing as low as possible, and the opponent goes for an Ice Beam. I'm going to look to Earthquake this with Walrein. I'm thinking this thing knows Ice Beam and Surf, which if that is the case, this is a really good opportunity for me to come in and just get a ton of energy. Now, the opponent here is going to fire off a move. This is not enough for a Skull Bash. They do go for a Surf here, and we're going to farm up to 100 energy pretty much, go for an Earthquake. I decided to go for an Undercharge. I should have charged it a bit more than this, as you're going to see, because farming this thing down is not easy. So, we're going to sit here and try to farm this down. As you can see, like, this is chipping away at us, but it's not threatening us at all. I decided to go for an Icicle Spear here and just completely undercharge it, and then go for a full farm down, which will get us to about 100 energy. I just needed to get a little bit of extra chip into it to stop it from getting to maybe another move on top of this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that was perfect. So we're basically up to 100 energy on this, and that's going to put us in a good position against the Cresselia. And in comes a Machamp. So we're going to fire off the Earthquake straight away here, and the opponent, they let it go, which I was quite surprised to see actually. And the opponent's farming all the way up here to the Rock Slide. So at this point, I'm willing to respect it. The opponent will fire off a Rock Slide here. And just before we take them out the fire off a move, I just have to respect it, hoping that the Cresselia, knowing Grass Knot, does not know Future Sight, which it normally doesn't. We go ahead and farm up to the CMP. Okay, we farm over here as well. I'm thinking here, like, okay, it's Moonblast. So I'm like, alright, if they had Future Sight, they would have just thrown it. So at this point, I'm feeling like I definitely win this match. The Machamp there went for a Cross Chop. I'm assuming they had payback, and weren't able to reach it in time, so decided to bait the Cross Chop. But I was happy enough to shield that and just respect it. One more Blast Burn will take this thing out, and one more Moonblast will not take me out. So this is looking to be in a good position here, and again, we're overcoming like a pretty negative lead by just transitioning into Giratina, dancing around the team a little bit, and then looking to sort of sweep it up in the end with Charizard. Charizard is like by far the best sweeper in this league, and in comes Perseker. Again, this is a really bad lead, and they know close combat, I believe. So I decided to let this go. I'm hoping that they switch out afterwards and I can just kind of RPS them here a little bit. They come in with a Blastoise, bro. I bank up to 100 energy knowing that I need to get an Earthquake off on that Perseker. And this is looking brutal because this thing knows Ice Beam as well. This is looking really brutal. I decided to go for a Dragon Claw on this. If you have an option between neutral damage, always go for a Dragon Claw on Giratina. Shadow Sneak is not quite as good, but if you're against, of course, like a Steel type, or something that Shadow Sneak is super effective to, at that point you do that. So at this point here, I think I let this go, and I look to come in and maybe farm down with Charizard. Now I come in with Walrein and go for an Icicle Spear. I think I just didn't want to potentially eat a Surf on Charizard, and I already have 100 energy on this, and in comes a Jellicent, bro. This is like the worst thing you can possibly see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they're already at the Surf. I've got 2 shields here, so it's like, right, this is just over at this point. The opponent goes for a Surf. 1, 2, 3, 4. Throwing in good timing. Like, that's our only hope here, that the opponent double shields and we can somehow throw in good timing and somehow take it out. We are starting to get this thing low, so we're just hoping and praying here at this point. The opponent, I think they're just trying to call a beat here. Like, they're like, haha, you're not going to beat me, buddy. We're firing, you know, of course, Blast Burn does more damage. And at this point, I'm just going to full send the Blast Burn. I'm not sure what other move the opponent has. I think it's a Night Slash. We full send the Blast Burn, and the opponent lets it go. The opponent lets it go, and we come in and farm down the Jellicent. I could not believe I won that match. I was like just mind blown by that one. The opponent was trying to call a bait. I mean, it's so obvious that I would go for a bait in that situation. So I think just for fun, the opponent was trying to call a bait, and maybe they just don't care too much. They were just thinking like, they've got me completely dominated. Like, listen guys, that was a super lucky win. 99 out of 100 times, like, that is just so hard to deal with. Like, a triple water team, or sorry, a double water backline with a Steel in the front, like, that is so hard to deal with. You really need to just get shields down somehow and land a Blast Burn on that. As you can see, that does one shot. But we did get a positive lead here, and we'll see how we play this one. So what I decided to do is shield up or farm up to 6 here, and we'll see what the opponent wants to do. Getting off the move before they go for a Brave Bird or Feather Dance. The opponent's farming up a little bit over here, and I'm not respecting this. Pidgeot only knows one move, and that is Feather Dance. They're staying in here for a minute, and we're going to go in ahead and fire off an Icicle Spear at this point. The opponent lets it go, and at this point I'm expecting the Brave Bird. At this point though, we've got this sort of out of here. I've got the use out of my Walrein, and at this point we're going to aggro swap, storing some energy on that, and look to farm down with Giratina. So we'll see if that energy comes in useful later on. But that was the plan. My Giratina, or sorry, my Walrein's like a rank 9 or something, so it is super tanky. And with Dragon Claw, or sorry, with Dragon Breath against opposing Giratinas, that is a winning matchup for you. So the opponent cannot really win this unless they shield up. We're going to see what the opponent does. They let it go, and in comes the Cobalion. Okay, so I'm like, right, I'm going to try to maybe like just chip this a little bit. I think one Blast Burn doesn't quite take it out from full health. They go for the Sacred Sword, and at this point we're just going straight into Charizard. We're not messing around, we're not wasting any time. We are going straight for the Blast Burn once again. The opponent's win condition is to call a bait, and we're not going to let that happen. We're just going straight for it, and in comes Giratina to get the farm down. Absolutely good games there. Guys, I want to talk about baiting a little bit because it's something I fall into. Whenever it's towards the end of a match, right? And if it's like the opponent's got one shield left and they've got one Pokemon left, you just go straight for the move because the opponent's win conditions is to call baits, right? So like if you go for a bait and they're able to get off like multiple Stone Edges, that can mess you up so badly. So just go for the move. Swampert here, I think this is a positive matchup. I think I can eat an Earthquake. I decide to respect it here. The opponent's baiting with Hydro Cannon. That's such a bad bait, honestly, because it's so risky. Because I can eat an Earthquake, so it's like, you know, how much are you trying to risk here? But that's fine. In this matchup, even if I shield 2 Hydro Cannons, I can still win this. So this is absolutely fine by me. We're going to go ahead and fire off the Icicle Spear. I suppose this is the opponent's like only win condition, and the opponent's going to fire off another move here. We can comfortably eat this, and we'll see if the opponent wants to stay in and get taken out, or if they want to swap out. We farm up to the Icicle Spear. I was tempted to swap into Giratina at this point, like bank the energy and swap into Gira, but I decided I want to take switch here and see what happens, and in comes their own Walrein. Now here's the thing guys, they cannot outpace us here, and we CMP in the Earthquake. The opponent wins CMP. Super lucky by the opponent here. So I'm kind of annoyed at this point, and I know I'm going to have to eat a couple of Icicle Spears here. This is kind of rough, and I'm hoping the opponent does not catch Blast Burn. The opponents do not tend to like to catch Blast Burns on anything. I farm up to just before they get to another Icicle Spear. Fire off the Blast Burn, which doesn't quite take out. Swap into Gira, eat the energy on Gira. Even though it is super effective, you just eat it on Gira. Look at this. It doesn't do that much, it's absolutely fine. And in comes another Venusaur. Now I think the big difference between this time and last time is the fact that we're ahead in energy with this Venusaur. So the opponent will be able to... Actually, we might just take switch here. Venusaur is just dead against Gira, as you can see. Even with my terrible IVs, that's just doing so little damage. And we're going to fire off another Dragon Claw. This is going to get the opponent really, really low, and I can actually just Dragon Claw this out. The opponent does get to another move, and with Charizard in the back, there's no way they're getting to another move, you know, so we can just comfortably farm this down, and we can look to Dragon Claw the really low health Walrein. And guys, that is this team. If you did enjoy this video, hit that like, let me know what you think about this team. I know there are some core breakers like Ampharos. Padaman said if you get an Ampharos lead, just stay in and try and bait the Earthquake is about the best thing you can hope for, and then maybe like soft lose and going ahead and farm down with Gira. Thank you everybody, have a fantastic rest of your day, hit that like button, subscribe. We're back to sort of like a half decent elo again, and like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Join the Discord in the description down below, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow for a brand new video.